to Fireside Chat in March already. Can you believe it? It was just the new year just a couple days ago, right? And today we're talking about giving yourself the permission to be great. And whatever that means to you, what does greatness mean to you? We'll be chatting about that today. And giving yourself the permission, which is a whole nother piece of that. And why we got to this is really, it kind of was a spin-off from the last call that we did when motivation fails. There was a couple of people on that call who were saying they were putting off doing what they really wanted to do because they felt they were being selfish if they were to be too great. And it just kind of, that's how we create these topics, is just spinning off of whatever comes from the previous one and kind of what's up in the air with a lot of people that we work with and play with. So welcome.
And you forgot to say?
Oh, welcome to the Fireside Chats, where the mystical meets the practical. And you're
Oh, that's funny. And a little disclaimer, we're working currently on a 3-month training which looks at unleashing your magic or unleashing your greatness. So you might have some sparkles of magic going through this chat today. I'm sorry.
Oops. We can't help it.
We did it again. Perfect. So are you giving yourself permission to be great?
No.
I like that movement. Yes, no, yes, no.
Depends.
Uh-huh. So
where to begin?
No, I just thought there's a big bug on the ceiling. Sorry, I get distracted. What we often see is that people hide their greatness behind beliefs, point of views, and expectations.
So we'll just hit you with that whammy from the get-go.
So if you have a look at your life and how you live your greatness, can you relate to that? And what are those major goobers? I call those things goobers that hold us back and they stick to us, that hold you back. Like, what are your points of view, your belief, or your expectations that hold you back from your greatness?
And this might be like self-talk. What are the thoughts in your head about why you can't do something or why you can't be that? Mm-hmm. Those are all like a belief or a point of view. And we just like to hear from you just to get the energy going about what that's been for you.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to start first.
Okay, go. Yeah.
Like, for me, what the longest time got in my way was that I had that sense that I constantly had this mysterious power watching over me. And like, I was in kind of some weird initiation. It's like being a really spiritual being. I just constantly had that sense that, okay, I have to get it right according to some mysterious rules or expectations. So it wasn't anything concrete, but it was always that hovering observer whose expectations I had to fulfill. And instead of really tuning into who I am and what my greatness is, I tried to conform to spiritual expectations, and sometimes, I mean, also, of course, to the expectations of my parents. And when that lifted, it really started to make it a lot easier to actually check in with myself. Okay, what contribution can I actually be here and right now? And it's funny, it still sneaks in sometimes when I drive and I'm not present and just cut somebody off or all that. I still have that, the points are being collected. If I do that too often, I will fail. And then I just have a good laugh and just let that go. But just to give you a sense, like, of what can get in your way. So, your turn.
What's stopping you from being great? Just even in your own eyes, or let's just look at yourself being great for you. Yep. Does the phone person have something?
Yeah, I think I'm the phone person. This is Lori. What came up was, yeah, it's that comparison to others. Like my greatness isn't as great as blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So and so's or whatever, or it doesn't look the same. And there's also, it's interesting when you started talking. It's also this like, what is greatness for me anyway? Like I don't really have that defined. Like, and so it's always moving, and like I don't really know what that is for me.
Mm-hmm. What is it
Which
in
is
this
interesting.
moment?
Like I wouldn't have thought about that until you started talking. And then I was like, God, what is my greatness? I don't even know if I know.
Uh-huh.
So in this moment, what would you say? What's so great about you? What's your greatness?
Well, there's lots of things that are great about me. Yeah, like I would say there's a certain way that I'm curious and very gosh, I'm trying to find the word because every word that I'm finding doesn't really reflect it. Yeah, but just kind of like the way that I move through life without a lot of fixedness in certain areas. And there's there's things that I don't judge that a lot of people that are really judgeable by a lot of other folks, or I would say commonly judgeable. And yeah, and kindness and curiosity and being able to see how to put things together and yeah, I mean there's lots of things that I don't know that that's actually the greatness.
So
like those are great things about me, but I don't know that that's my greatness.
So when you tap into those things, is there a sensation in your body that you have? Like
a little bit, yeah. I would, yeah.
So
When I think about it, and when I have the energy of being them, yes, for sure.
So what if that was a sense of your greatness? Right? This is a little bit of a compass.
Like when you say sense, like an awareness of it.
Yeah, and it's like this is an expression where you know you're living your greatness.
It's an embodied like feeling, right? It's like it's in your body. There's an awareness in your body that shows you what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the expression of your greatness can change all the time, right? Because it does. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, we looked in the dictionary like 10 minutes before the call. What is the dictionary? And it said it sounds really boring, but it's above average. So but and there was more stuff too that Siri told us, but it is, in essence, it said it's above average, beyond the norm. Okay, so it's like, where are you, like way beyond the norm, beyond status quo? Where are you different? So you know, that part of that, your difference is also your greatness, that you can't compare that to anyone. No one else has what you have. So we do hear a lot of people worried about comparing themselves, and you just get into such a downward spiral when you do. So part of this, we just really wanted you to look at what is great about you for you. Forget about everybody else for a moment. Just suspend that for a moment when you're tuning in and tapping into your greatness. It's not that we don't want to make you separate, because there's another part of where we are connected to everyone and we aren't separate, but just for now, what is the greatness of you?
Mm-hmm. And it's often not a cognitive answer. It's more that energy allowing that to come forth. And actually, sorry for everybody else who wants to say something. You can jump in later, but I'm going to take this because there's some information I'd like to share. So in working with magic more and really looking at what we're doing, we looked a lot at separation and how much separation really totally disempowers us. Because when you look at the human species, we are in a phase in our evolution where we are very much focused on the individual, right? And me. So the challenge is that we are me. We're very unique and different, each individual, and we are part of, for lack of better term, of an organism. Okay? So we are all connected with each other, not just as a human species, but as a whole planet, right? This is so, and yeah, I'm sure you guys can relate to that. Yeah? Do I see some head nods? Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so because we have thrown the separation in to develop the me, there is something missing always. Okay, and sometimes it feels like, okay, you're faulty at default. Okay, so you have to fix yourself and do good and yada 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 to then deserve.
That's basically like original sin.
Right? That's pretty much the original sin
in Christianity.
And it's the illusion of separation. And when I see that a lot, I wonder always, why do we compete? Why do we compare each other to each other? And I wonder how much that is actually that desire to actually be part of that organism. Okay? So when you compare yourself to someone or something, just become aware and ask yourself, okay, am I actually reaching out? What can create a win-win situation here? Where can the energy flow that would be a contribution to me and to whomever you're contributing to, comparing yourself to, right? Instead of going into that separation, allow that connection, for lack of a better term. It's like truly, I'm missing words here because they don't exist. Okay? Does that make sense?
Any questions about that? I didn't even know that was coming up. That just
yeah, I got that. Yeah, thank you for that, because one of the things that I've been playing with differently is the that well, I guess it's part of that separation and the comparison is the places that I don't allow myself to actually receive from where I'm giving. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I tend to flow out, and I'm not always cognizant of the asking for or flow back in for me to me. So it's one-sided, and it and that creates a lot of stuff. So what you were speaking to was including myself, but not being about myself.
Exactly. And I mean, what I it is this kind of dichotomy, and again, here we are in the liminal, right? The betwixt and between. On one side, it is important to be aware how different and unique and amazing you are, yet you're part of the whole.
Yeah.
Right? It is both and. It's not or. It's not either me or the rest. It is the and. Right. Me and the rest. So whenever you go into that comparing, which totally disempowers everybody in the picture, go into the flow. Okay. what can I actually contribute? What can I receive here? Like both and. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
to add a little bit, like when you see someone else, creating more or faster or making more money or whatever, and the jealousy creeps in, just think and be that and what else? And what else? Right? Don't stop there. I think it's a tool that I've just been using recently, and it's amazing when I ever add that and so, and what else?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
anyone else? What is your greatness? Do you have a felt sense of your greatness?
Do you have any questions?
Hi, ladies.
Hey.
I don't know if it's as much about the greatness, but yeah, just comment, question, see where this goes. But what I find is it's so easy to stay on top of things when things are going well.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we seem to have a speed bump or quicksand or whatever the case is, then I sometimes will seem to forget all my tools or whatever was working in the past. It's like I haven't learned anything. And sometimes it takes like a couple of hours to get out, sometimes a couple of minutes, but sometimes it's weeks and sometimes it's months, and then somebody will say something or read something, it'll trigger going, oh crap, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And it's just like the last couple of weeks haven't really existed and I'm right back on top again. But I don't know, can you guys expand or speak on what else is possible in between that fucked up time?
When you swim in the
in the mud time, yes, against the current, against like, I don't know, whatever that, but I have to say that put aside the greatness and stuff, I do lose who I am during that. I lose what I'm capable of, what the possibilities are. It's a really weird, I do go, who does this belong to? All of those, but it just, I don't know, just something, it's almost like I've just missed, I don't know how, I'm trying to find the right words, or at least better words. But it's just like I'm just missing a couple of keys or a couple of wise parts of myself that just aren't connected.
Yeah.
Like that spark plug, you know how you restart your car, like that jumper cable, that's it. Like there's just something that missing, that jumper cable to get me back on track.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can expand on that or ask me questions or go for it.
Yep.
You got it right there.
So this is something that I have forgotten in the last 9 years, big time.
Okay, I've got my pencil. Go ahead.
And that is ritual.
Which is what?
Ritual.
Ritual.
What she says.
Ceremony, ritual.
Yes, ceremony.
Okay.
So when you are in a constant stream of inspiration and hanging out with people that are always reminding you of your greatness, it is easier to maintain that greatness.
Right, that center.
Right? So when you go to a class, you come home and it's like, yes, you're rocking it. Because you just drank up all that greatness and were inspired by others.
Right.
Yet when we are in the world of muggles and actually doing what we're here to do, it is easy to forget that. And creating yourself a routine, a ritual that allows you to check in with yourself so that it doesn't even come to those mud times.
Do you have something like that, Dee?
I'm going to say yes. However, the ritual, the routine is also forgotten during that time frame. So this is a great reminder that, wow, yeah, like that's not something I do when I'm derailed. It's just, I even seem to forget the would you call it? Like the touching base, the connection with myself, how you would just call a friend up and say, okay, how's your day? Do you need like that power word, like that reset or that restart or whatever it is? So yeah, you're right. That's not something I do all the time. So
and that's where like the discipline comes in. If you choose to really be that greatness in the world, it is a good idea to check in with with yourself regularly.
And just an example is, how long do you let your teeth go without brushing them?
Right.
So
Wow.
that's a ritual that your body reminds you when you want to brush your teeth, right? It probably a day doesn't go by where you miss that, right? So that's the kind of thing that you could instill into your world, where however you do it. And that's what we've been playing with quite a bit the last few months. And we had missed that. We had missed that checking in with ourselves and our divine being.
And that's like, for me, coming from a background of a lot of spiritual training, I kind of was done with that kind of stuff. It's like yada yada yada, la 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 la, right? And then working in a community where a lot of people are living their greatness, and yeah, it was just an atmosphere where that was more nurtured. And at the same time, I also realized I lost my greatness. I just was so in that network that I forgot that, because I didn't tune in with myself. And that is the same thing that happened to me when I did all the other spiritual practices. What is actually mine? Not living somebody else's greatness, but what is the unique contribution that I can be? So having a tune-in ritual in the morning and in the evening as part is what I call the spiritual hygiene, or the consciousness hygiene in this case. But really, hey, how are you? Right? I check in with Juna every day, no question. That's one of the first things that I do. How was your night? But I don't do that with myself. I didn't do that with myself.
That's great. Thanks, ladies. I'm going to play with that and see if anything else comes up.
And let us know what kind of rituals you guys come up with.
I will.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it's I can already see it starting to, like, there's going to be something on the mirror. You wake up in the morning, and that's like that great idea, or not the idea, sorry, the reminder right then and there. So at least the plants has been like, the seed has been planted.
Yeah.
So,
and just know, like, it takes, like they say, 21 days, or it takes a while to just create that new rhythm. So really, whatever it takes.
And it doesn't take time, right? Like, I used to get up in the early mornings before the sun rises and meditated for an hour. That's not necessary unless you really enjoy that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It can be just that, hi, how are you doing?
It can be while you're brushing your teeth. If you're doing that twice a day, you could just check in with yourself. How am I doing?
No, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks, ladies.
Cool.
Anyone else? What is this stirring up in your world? Being great, giving yourself the permission, not being great, wishing you could be better. Like, what's coming up for you?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
What is always comes up for me is with the greatness is I don't really see that I have, like, I could see that I have greatness, but I really don't see that I have anything that others don't have. I was going to say everybody else doesn't have, but I was going to say others don't have. Like, there's always other people that have whatever I find that I might be great about me. I'm saying at least there's some or many others that have it too, whatever it is.
So does that make it less than in your world?
Yes.
So are you comparing yourself in that moment?
Yes.
So how would it be if you actually connected and contributed to whatever else the other ones have too.
Yeah, that's more like, yeah.
So in a soccer
Can
team,
have us all be one.
like when you look at a soccer team or any kind of sports team,
Yeah.
are they all great at what they do?
Most of them.
Yeah, right. So
Yes.
what if you, in that moment when you go into that perceiving, you perceived yourself as a team, and I'm pretty sure there's no second Kim like you around.
True.
Actually, 100% sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is the discipline, because we are so entrained with false humbleness that we have the sense that unless we're like at the top notch level, we have nothing to contribute and everybody else is better than us.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where you need to truly recalibrate your whole system to the greatness of you instead of the false humbleness of you.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, with that daily routine ritual, that will help, because your cells do vibrate in a different frequency when you know, like, I mean, perceive that when you pull up your greatness and allow it to bubble up in you,
Mm-hmm.
that is a different vibration from which you can, or with which you be.
Yes.
And then
I see. I was looking at it as a doing, whereas I know I'm a unique individual, but I think I was looking at like any special, so-called special talents or abilities that I might have. I'm thinking, well, there's always others out there that have those talents and abilities as well.
Mm-hmm.
and that's
But nobody else has my package, so to speak.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Who else?
Sorry, can I ask you guys to expand on what Kim was talking about when you had said if there's somebody that we're comparing, I'm trying to remember what you said. If there's somebody that we're comparing to contribute to that, can you expand on that?
The contributing part.
Something, okay, I'm trying to remember what was said. Something about when we are comparing ourselves to others and we realize, or not we realize, but then we start feeling like we're inadequate, for an example.
Right.
Sabine, you had said that what can you contribute or contribute to that to expand it? You said something along that line. Sorry, I don't remember exactly.
So what happens is, because we are through and through really beings of communion,
Okay.
when we start comparing ourselves, and this is more a wondering than this is so, or everything that I say is a wondering, not an this is so. If we in that moment actually have that awareness of the interconnectedness of us all, the communion, but because we come from the point of view of separation,
Okay.
we go into judgment instead of actually being in that flow of gifting and receiving. So what would it be like in that moment to actually expand the gifting and receiving instead of the separation?
So are we expanding, or are we, I'm just trying to get more of a feel for it or a sensation of it, the energy of it. So is it more the fact that we're offering support, energetic support for the person, like rah, you can do more, you can do better?
Nothing in the outer. So pretend you're competing with me, right?
Okay.
She does it better, like, right?
Okay, here we are, competing.
I'll create you anytime, right?
All right.
So there's a connection, like a flow between the two of us.
Okay.
So instead of going into the
Right.
how would it be? And this might be the bigger challenge, to lower your barriers and ask yourself, what can you receive from me?
Okay.
What can you contribute to me?
Okay.
Right? Allow that flow that is who we truly are to unfold and expand. And with that, automatically eliminate that illusion of separation.
Okay, that helps tremendously.
Yeah, because when we go into comparison, we're saying essentially, I'm a little bit like that, but I'm not like that. And she's like this, and I'm not like that. So I'm like this, I'm not like that. And that just creates all the separation. And it doesn't create anything. It's just separate, separate. I'm so different. I'm that, I'm not that. She's not that. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I just had that thing. It's like the different cells in your eyeball, they're pretty much similar, right?
Okay.
But if they would compare each other, compete and compare, they would fight each other and you wouldn't see a thing.
Right.
But
Okay.
they work together as an
All
eyeball.
the differences to actually create the greatness.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm done. See ya. No. All right. Thank you. That's awesome.
Oh, fun.
Hi,
Hi.
Hey.
guys. This is Barb. Hey, you made me something that I thought I might share with all of you. Yesterday, I was doing an energy poll with someone, and they talked about receiving. And receiving, when I do energy polls, I always think, okay, I'm receiving, but I'm also always contributing. And they, in this particular energy poll, they said, no, this time we don't want you to be contributing. Just receive. And so, I was already into my usual give and take. But I realized I never, ever receive without contributing. And so today, when I was doing my morning routine, I, instead of doing the usual energy poll, what I did is I went and connected with all the things I usually connect with, but I just asked to receive. And it was so amazing because what I kind of got from that is by actually receiving, then you actually allow the whole circuit to start flowing, and that it isn't like that push, that invasive push of contributing, like in your face, take this, here I am. Instead, it was a whole different flow to it. And I just wanted to share that because that was just amazing to me. I just never even thought about it, the energy in that way before. And anyway, I would just encourage other people just to give that a whirl and just be in the energy of receiving all day.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful. And perceive the ease with which you switched into that flow, right? You didn't have to do anything.
Right.
So how would it be if you, with that same ease, with that naturalness, allowed your greatness to bubble up without having to do anything, not push? And like, I always see that or many of us are in this between a rock and a hard place. On one side, it is like, who are you to dare to be great, right? On the other side is, who are you to not be great, right? It's those two forces. And what you just described portrayed so beautifully that lightness of being, of just allowing it to bubble up without having to do either or. You just be.
Exactly. It was like everything just started crumbling. It was truly amazing.
That's beautiful.
So thank you for bringing that up today and let me reconfirm that, I'm on the right track here.
And it's really, it's not about doing greatness, right? What if you could receive your own greatness? What if you could receive your gifts, capacities, your energy, and that was okay, and that's the greatness, right? Just receiving the greatness. Like the being or the doing, the pushing, we have a lot of that in our world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I rearranged my molecules.
And that's exactly what we mean with recalibrating, right? Instead of like all of them having a slight pickle up their ass, which ultimately is allowing you to relax yourself into you. And that alone is the greatness. There is nothing faulty by default. You are great when you come to the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who else? Any questions? There's one more part that I'd like to.
And there's something else. Well, go ahead. And then I'll see if it's that.
Okay. Please, games we play with each other. Who here has a bit of an issue with failure?
2 hands.
A couple of you, right? So when you look at it, how much has failure or the fear of failure prevented you from being your greatness? Right? It's like a little bit, as long as I'm sure that I can do it, or the calculated loss is not too big, I will be my greatness. Okay, that's another slave master, also based in separation. Because how much is failure a judgment? It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, can you see how much failure is a judgment? Because what we really say is, I didn't fulfill somebody else's expectation or my own expectation. I expected the situation to turn out a certain way, or that person expected it, or society expected it. So when you perceive, can you perceive that nervousness, that fear of failure in you? And what would it be like if you replaced that with curiosity and the openness to learn, to explore? Because if something doesn't work the way you or someone else expects it, what else is possible? Okay. And can you perceive how that allows you to stay in your greatness, whether instead of going into the judgment of you? Okay. So just knowing when that holding back comes up, ask yourself, hey, am I afraid of failure? And what else could I learn here? What else do I know here? What else can I explore that would change this? Because the fear of failure triggers immediately that giving up energy. Or the stubbornness is like, I'm going to do it anyway. But you cut yourself off from your awareness, and then it becomes some weird creation somewhere in midair. I sometimes call that hot farts, right? They make an intense impact, but they fly away very fast. That's the creation of, like, from separation, not with awareness.
A hot fart in the wind, you say.
True. Goes even faster away.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense to you guys?
So would that be similar to fear of success?
Yeah. Is in the fear of the success, the fear of failure underlying?
Are you asking me that, or that's?
Yeah. Why are you afraid of success?
Yeah, because then I'd have to be the greatness.
Okay, and what would be so
But
horrible
all the
if you...
time I would tell myself I had to, because then, yes, you're right, because then I'd be fearful that if I wasn't fully my greatness, that I'd lose that success, and then it's failure. Yep.
Yeah.
And these are what we started off at the beginning, is talking about what beliefs are you hiding your greatness behind. So that would be one of them. Do you get that? So that I don't want to go for success because I might fail. And I don't want to go for failure because I might fail. and that can stop us. So what's behind all of those beliefs that we have? The belief, the point of view, and is that true?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is we have all these beliefs, and we've been conditioned for 4 trillion years to buy all of these beliefs and points of views as true. And yet when we look at them, they're really a paper tiger. We blow on them and they fall apart. It's not even really anything. But behind the beliefs we're hiding the greatness. And for me, that's one of the reasons I wanted to have this chat, is to get out from behind the stove in your life and to be great for yourself, for the world. It is all connected. Can you imagine if everybody in the world connected to that uniqueness in them, the difference in them, and really celebrated rather than, oh, poor me, I'm so fucked up. Right? So when we can be that for each other. We'll be that for ourselves first. And then if people want to pick that up and run with it, they can. If they don't, that's okay too.
And the beauty of it is that this time around, in this moment in time, it doesn't have to be kumbaya, right? It's like when we're aware of that connectedness and all that, it can be in confrontation, conflict, and in the true diversity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mm-hmm. And somebody the other day asked me, so what would be a society or a community that really would work for you? What would you like to see in that community as a embracing of diversity? And I became aware of what I really desire for myself and for the world is a level of allowance that allows me to embrace that which is opposite of me without becoming like a doormat.
Can you say a little bit more?
So I see, at the moment that it seems like the fronts are just like heating up and fighting and like
political
crazy, right? China really ramping up and becoming the new world force, and the US just creating some very interesting stuff. And it looks like it does stimulate a lot of judgments. And I find myself rolling my eyes and going into the judgment. But what that does, it really disempowers me from that question, what can I actually contribute here? Without agreeing with what's happening, but being very pragmatic and seeing, what can I change here?
And even like what Barbara brought up, what can I receive from the political turmoil in this? Like, what's right about it? What's great about this that I haven't even considered?
Mm-hmm.
That's stretching it for a lot of people, but it really is being in allowance of the diversity on the planet. And that's what we're calling you to, like, be great in you and see the greatness that it takes in someone to play the fool, someone to play, these different roles that they're playing. And
without excusing it and agreeing with it, right? Allowance and agreement is something very, very different. Yeah.
Cool.
So, and perceive the richness in that. What we could change, not just politically, environmentally, everything, if we would allow that flow to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So how does this all be with you? And are there more beliefs that you say? I'm very curious because I want to find out what other things are, what other goobers are in the air that prevent you from being the greatness of you.
What do you tell yourself? What are those thoughts in your head that stop you from being great and like finishing your projects or getting out there, making a video or whatever it is for you?
Can I also add what Catherine had said as far as like success or failure of success, but what also of fear of maintaining that success or that
Yes.
greatness? That's also something some days I find it exhausting and some days it's like, yes, bring it on. So yeah, if you guys can add to that.
Yeah, so that's my question is, what does greatness mean to you? So what are you making it mean? Are you making it very meaningful that it is a certain way? And if your greatness didn't mean anything or wasn't significant in any way, could that greatness change from day to day?
So no expectation on it, is that?
Yeah, like what Lori was saying at the beginning of how, she's great in this, and then she's great in this. And we tend to want to focus and this is my greatness. We can't. It's always shifting and changing, right? Does that help?
Yes, huge.
Yeah.
And another element here is, or question, how much in the morning when you wake up from a deep sleep are you worried that you can't get out of bed because your body won't work? Are you?
You know what? I don't know if I put into words that my body won't work, but it's sometimes a challenge to wake up.
That's so different, but
starts like off on a weird path.
But you're awake, right? And okay, I should get up.
Right.
Right? Do you fret about, I wonder if my little pinky toe would work?
No, I can't say I've ever experienced that.
Okay. So can you perceive that? Of course, right? There's a naturalness in that.
Yes.
Okay.
So what if you allowed your greatness to be a being and not a doing, with that same ease as doing what you do every day?
Like a naturalness. There's a naturalness to your greatness.
Right.
Right. And it's really, you really want to ask those questions. What does it mean to me? What have I made it mean in other people? And where is it a natural part of me, and how can I grow that, experience it, receive from it, enjoy it, be it, dance with it?
I like that.
And most of us don't, like, same with breathing, right? We don't worry if other than being dead, we don't really worry, or injured, we don't worry if we breathe tomorrow. Will I maintain my breathing tomorrow as well? Because we don't really have that expectation on ourselves to breathe or not to breathe. We just know we breathe.
Right. I like that.
So as long as your greatness is a doing and a fulfilling of expectations, it's going to be work, and not your greatness. It's going to be an imitation of your greatness, not you being the greatness of you.
Right. That's huge. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's almost the most challenging thing of being right now on the planet, that life can be so easy that it is hard to receive. Okay. And I'm not talking about not having any challenges, but there is a lightness that is inviting us to an intimacy with the moment that is so alive, sweet, that all the barriers that we have up really go into resonance and say, oh, I don't want this. Okay. And when you allow yourself to relax into that greatness, that will just drop, and you will be able to drink in that ambrosia of being.
Okay.
I'm a poet.
Thank you. That was awesome.
And don't get it with this one.
Right.
The thing between your ear does not compute. Right? It's a storage system and runs your body to some extent.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
And when you experience your greatness, just ask for more of it to come. Just those glimpses. Sometimes it seems like we just get glimpses. Yeah. Other times we ride the wave for months. And those times where we aren't being it, it's okay. What if that's part of the greatness? It's part of the rhythm of of being you. And then once you realize it, you pick it up and go, okay, so where's my greatness? How can I be this again?
And this is just another whoops that came through. You cannot be your greatness if you embrace separation. Because you are not a separate being.
Okay, all right. I was going to ask you to expand on that, but now I get it.
Yeah, it's that allowing your barriers to drop, and your greatness is within the communion of all things. That's when you become alive.
Right.
And if you have that sense you have to do it all yourself, which is true also, because that's the end, right? You're the one that makes a choice, but in the bigger picture, you are so carried by everything else that brings forth the best in you, the greatness in you.
Right. I get the visual of plugging in the laptop when the power is starting to die, because it's just on its own source, whereas when you plug it in, it has all that other power source.
Right.
Beautiful. Exactly. Right.
Thank you.
And I would invite you guys to not only tune in with your own greatness, but tune into the greatness of this world. Not this reality, but this world. Like, it is amazing that who came up with this, right? Wow. And then all those ecosystems flowing with each other, even when we're messing with it to that extent. When I go shopping, sometimes I see what people put in their shopping cart, and they're still alive. Wow. Right? That's we are great as a whole creation. And that's such an enormous nurturing source that can help you to be you and more of you.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So are you up for that?
That was awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Any more questions, ponderings, and wanderings?
Any
comments?
Any yes buts?
What I noticed as I was listening is the word greatness as such is not really part of my vocabulary. I didn't perceive any resistance in me, but what for me has become important is to be me.
Yeah.
Be as much of me as I possibly can, and I keep continuously discovering aspects that I had not seen. And so it takes, from what I perceive now, it takes that significance of having the greatness and all the baggage that comes with it. It takes that out of the equation, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. So if we said you're magic,
It's
the words
on
don't.
some, the funny thing is on some level it is as meaningless,
right?
and I also have an awareness of what I possibly could do if I would allow myself to be who I fully am.
Mm-hmm.
There is that awareness, and I am striving for that.
And that's what we
check
yeah.
if I'm saying that correctly.
That's a great point, and that's exactly what we mean. And I
get that. Yeah.
Right? It's that desire to be not humming and drumming with the normal.
Yeah.
But with the greatness of you. Because there is a tremendous capacity in all of us to be little zombies. Right? And that's not what we're addressing. We're addressing that desire to be that, shiny, happy people.
And that you're on this chat with us shows that you are asking for something greater. You are being that, and you are greater. Like, just like
Yeah,
really,
I'm asking for more.
really being that and allowing it to
Mhm.
permeate you.
That's the for more. That's that key. Cool. Anything else? Any comments, wonderings, ponderings? Did this help you guys to have more fun with your greatness?
It offered a lot of clarity, so thank you. And I just want to say, when Karina first came on the screen, her blanket behind her looked like angel wings. So that was awesome.
My
Beautiful
way.
vision, just gorgeous.
Yeah.
What do you mean looked like?
Thank you.
Who else? Anything else before we call it a Sunday night chat? Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, afternoon, evening, wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, and stay tuned till next time. We schedule it Gypsy style, so we tune into the energy and we tune into the theme as to what we're going to talk about. And certainly we love hearing from you. Any of you, if you have any ideas and say, oh yeah, I'm thinking about this, and can you talk about this? We'd love to hear from you. And that always means a lot to us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, we'll see you at the fireside where the mystical meets the practical.
Yes.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
And I love seeing the Europeans on the camera. Yes.
Yes, we did it at a good time for you.
Thank you. It's awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.